What's going on, everybody? Welcome to part 5 of the sockets tutorial series. In this video, what we're going to do is continue with our Chatroom application, and this time we're going to code the client side of things, and then we're going to run it and fix all of the certain bugs that I've created, or at least some of them, so the ones that we find. Okay, let's get started. So what does our client do? Our client really does like two things, right? Or maybe three things. So on immediate connection, the client tells the server what their username is. And then from that point forward, it's just like this infinite loop of if the client has a message to send that message, but also receive messages from the server. Now, just to keep it super simple, we're going to do everything inside of the console. So we're just going to use input, which is going to block the rest of the program from running. So you'll have to either send an empty message or send a message to get updates. Later, I would add some sort of UI to it. I do have planned to do that, but that's not really a sockets tutorial anymore. That's a GUI tutorial. So anyway, let's get started. So import socket, because obviously import select for the same reason as before, and import Erno. So that should be everything we need. What is Erno? What are we doing? We're going to use this to match specific error codes. I'll talk about it when we get there, but basically one of the things that we're going to do is try to receive messages until we can't, but when we know we can't receive them, we actually will get an error. And we want to make sure that error is a really specific error and not some other error. Okay, so we want to make sure that error is because there's no message to receive and not because who knows, something was wrong with that message or our code or whatever. So anyways, we're going to use this to match specific errors. You'll see it when we get there. Then we're going to have the exact same starting constants. Header length, we'll make that 10. IP will be the same as it was before, 127.0.0.1. Port, we'll make that 1234 again. And then my usernamer will be input. And we'll just say username. So we'll just grab this from the client basically immediately when they join. So now we're going to create the socket. So we're going to say client underscore socket equals socket.socket, and then it's socket.address family, internet, I assume, or inet in this case, socket dot all caps sock underscore stream. Okay. Great. Client socket, good. Now let's go ahead and connect to IP and port. So client socket dot connect to the tuple IP port. And then we're going to say client socket dot set blocking to be false. This way the receive functionality won't be blocking. All right, so set blocking false. The next thing that we want to do is begin to send in this information to the server. So like I said before, this does like three major things. The very first thing that we're going to do is send in that username for the server. So recall, somewhere here, I was hoping to user equals receive. Is this the first message? Yeah. If notified, yeah. So if this is the server socket, this is the brand new user, and then this is where we set that user and stuff like that. So like at this state, this is where we are. Please don't move that. In our, like, if we're looking at where server is going to first interact with client.py, it would be here. Well, sort of, but at least it's code, because we actually we would first interact really here. Anyways. Continuing on. So what we want to say here is username will be equal to my username dot encode UTF-8. Then username underscore header will be equal to an F string of the len of username. Okay, colon, less than, and then header length, in this case, which is 10, header length. This always screws me. Like, this is hard enough to remember how to do, and then you add F string to it. and it looks goofy. But anyways, I think that's good. So we will encode UTF-8. Okay, that's our username in the header. So now what we're going to do is client underscore socket dot send username header plus whatever that username is. Is that really not a PEP8 violation to... And what if I put the space? Is that going to be a PEP8 violation? No? I can do whatever I want, huh? Interesting. I actually don't know the answer to that. I think you'd probably want spaces around your pluses. That's my guess. Anyway, so we send in that information. Once we've done that, that's like the only thing that isn't going to be in the loop. Like we only need that information one time. We're just not going to let people change their username. So the next thing that we're going to do now is just iterate forever. So while true, while true, what we want to do here is both send messages and receive messages. So the first thing I'm going to do here is say any message that we input is just going to be an F string that's also, input F string, and then we'll just say the username. So my underscore username. So this will just kind of, before the person types anything, it will just kind of, it'll just look like their own username, then they'll type and it'll look really pretty and stuff. It'll give them the feel of a GUI, even though it's really not. Okay, so now someone might just press enter, so just to get an update, right? Just to get past input. So someone might, or they might accidentally hit enter, who knows? So what we want to do is be able to handle for whether or not someone actually input anything at all. So the first thing that we're going to ask is if message. So if this is not empty, there we go. If message, then message will be equal to message.encode, and we will encode that to UTF-8 bytes. And then what we're going to do is we need to set message header, and that's equal to the F string of, again, len message, and then here colon less than. See, this always bothers me to like throw this. So like this one will wind up the same way. So hopefully header length. Okay. Dot encode to UTF-8. I don't know if we get away with having spaces there. I kind of want them, but I'm not sure if that will work for the string formatting. Okay, so that's our message header. And now we want to send that message. So client socket dot send message header plus whatever that message is. Woo. Okay, so that's us sending in the message if we actually sent one. But again, we might actually just press enter here just to update the chat. So regardless of whether or not there is a message, the next thing we want to do is try to receive all of these messages. So this would be a while true loop that we're going to receive things. And actually, I before E, except after C, fellas. Okay, so we're going to try to receive things here, but like I said, we're going to do that basically until we hit an error. So because that's going to be our logic, we're actually going to purposely encase this because we're expecting an error at some point for sure. So try except, and then for now I'll pass, but we'll fill that in a little bit. But while true, we are going to attempt to receive things. So first of all, we're going to say username underscore header equals client socket dot receive header length. And then, if not len username header, if not len username header means we basically didn't get any data for whatever reason. We're going to say print connection closed by the server, and then we run sys.exit and import sys. Okay, so other than that, we want to convert that that username header to an int. So what we're going to say is username underscore length equals the int value of username header dot decode UTF-8. And then again, like before, we'll throw in a strip because normally you'd have to do that, but I don't think you do here. Username length. Okay, so we've got the username length. Now what we want to grab, knowing that header, you know, what the length of this message of username alone would be, we can actually grab the user name here. So that's going to be client socket dot receive username length dot decode UTF-8. UTF-8. Okay, so we've got the username now. What we need to get next is the message itself. So coming down here, recall when we send information, we're sending this, right? We're sending the user header followed by the username, and the header just contains how long is the username. And then in that exact same message here, but just right after it, we're going to receive the message header and data. Now recall, this is coming in a stream, so we've accepted this exact amount. We've accepted the exact amount that is the header data, then the header, or then the username data based on that header, username header data, let's call it. And then again, now at the point of data will be exactly at the header for the actual message itself. So now we're basically going to do the exact same thing above. So message header equals client socket dot receive header length. So we do basically this exact thing. Then we're going to come down here and continue that. So now user no. What did I do here? Username header, username length equals int username. Here, username header, yeah. That caught my eye. So at least we solved one bug already. I was like, wait, you can't do that. Username length. Okay, then we see the message. Okay, cool. So we're going to basically do the exact same, like these three lines here. So the message won't be sent. So in this case, this would be if something went wrong there, but in this case, we shouldn't need that same error. So message header. Now what we need is message length. And the message length is the int version of the message header dot decode UTF-8 and strip. So decoded. That's what that word was, in case anybody wasn't sure. Okay, message length. And now we finally can grab the actual message itself, which will be exactly this right here. Copy, pasta, change to message length dot decode UTF-8. Okay. So we have the username and we have the message. So all we're going to do now is print f-string, and that will be the username followed by whatever the message is. I just can't wait to run this and see how much trouble we're in. Okay, so basically we're gonna have like a couple of exceptions. So except we'll just do exception as E, and then we'll just print string E, and we'll call this just general error sys.exit. Then we'll come down here and we're going to accept an IO error as E. Accept IO error, capital E. I was waiting for the color. Okay, accept IO error as E. Now, if E.errno is not equal, so we've got two options here that we might see. It would be errno.e again, and then if E does not equal that, or E.errno does not equal errno.e would block. So again, these are the errors that we might see depending on operating system when there are no more messages to be received. So in this case, we don't really want to handle for this necessarily because we're expecting this. So but if it's not one of these things, then we'll just say print string E, and we'll just say some sort of reading error, and then whatever string E is. That way we know where we hit an issue. And then also let's just run a sysexit here because we're done. So otherwise, if we hit it and it is one of these things, we don't care. All we really want to do is continue. Cool. So with that, we are presumably done, but I can almost guarantee we aren't done. So let's go ahead and run the two things here. So cmd Python, what is it? We'll do server.py, so we'll get that running. I'll put this over here, and then cmd Python client.py. We'll say username is h. So as soon as I connected, we at least got the accepted new connection. Hello world. Figured. Could not be closed connection from H, and then also a reading error on the part of client. Non-blocking song could not be completed immediately. So the first thing I'm going to do is head over to, it's hard to say in this case. It could be actually something that we typoed in server, but we'll go to client. So we said hello world. Server didn't actually see it, but we're actually checking for the read. Okay, so the issue is, yeah, in this case, it's not an either or situation. It's an and situation. So if you put an or here, obviously you're always going to get it. So instead it needs to be an and. So if the error is not this, and it's not this, then we go here, because this is for deferring by operating system. That's the whole reason why we have this. So not an or, an and. So save that, and your server actually you should be able to keep your server running, and then just go ahead and rerun Python client.py. We'll use H again. And okay, so we got a new message. Hey, okay, great. So bringing over the server now, we see, okay, we got the new connection. The username is H, receive message from H, hey. Okay, so then we could add in one more user here, Python client.py. We'll say username is C. Hey, many exclamation marks, and if we come over to this one, this is our username H, and like we either, well, first of all, the server got it, but also here, we're not going to get it because we're being blocked by input. So if we just enter here, we'll see, oh, okay, we actually were able to receive the message from C immediately. And if we did not take any input, we would see things immediately. So for example, just for the fun of it, because it's just so fun. One thing you could say or do would be like for the first guy, let's see, client or girl, who knows who they are. We could just say message equals that. Maybe get away with that. cd python client.py. We'll call this user reader, and then we'll come back over here and now actually bring the messages back. And cmd python client.py, see, hey there. So this here, obviously our server basically does it, but this would just clean it up a little bit. Just to show you that a client, other than if you just commented out the, the message input, the client actually does receive in a stream of data here. So see, hey there, and then we could open up another one, python client.py, username h. Hey, what's up? Okay, then you get, hey, what's up? Nothing much. Okay, anyway, you get the idea. So actually, really surprised that I didn't type out anything along the way, and those funky F strings worked on the server, so that's cool. Okay, so really that's it. The next thing you would do is make some sort of real UI and not actually use the command line, just because it actually really is difficult to put things into the command line and have that be updated live. Yes, there are ways, but it's all operating system specific, and I just didn't want to do that that much. Whereas you could use something like any GUI, like tkinter or pyqt or whatever, and you just wouldn't have that problem anyways. So yeah, I think that's probably the next step would be to do something in a UI instead. So as you might be able to guess, I will plan to be doing that. So anyway, if that's what you want to see, stay tuned for the future. Otherwise, questions, comments, concerns, whatever, you can leave them below. Quick shout out to my recent channel members, Michael Ivanov for 7 months. That's a really long time. Thank you very much. Chong Sam Park, new member. Thank you. Lily Z, also a new member. AU Mix, also a new member. I sort of recognize that name. I think that you're in Discord or something. That's probably why I recognize that name. Dave Senta, 4 months as well. Thank you very much, all of you guys, for your support. You guys are freaking amazing. Okay, questions, comments, yeah, all that below. If you got suggestions, anything I did wrong here, leave those below. Also, if you can think of a nice, clean way to make this operating system agnostic, but also update live, including message input, I'd love to see it. It's like a huge rabbit hole that I don't really want to go down for this. But anyway, that's it. I will see you guys in another video.